is. All right. So let's begin on our backs today. I'm going to move my feet out of the way here. And I'm going to invite you today to begin with having your feet a little bit wider than your hips and allow the knees to go in towards each other, like in that kind of pyramid. And then just settle down into your back and begin to just notice how you're feeling. So again, that sacrum that we're going to be working is right here in that center point where, and then you can kind of get the hips. So the sacrum can sometimes get grumpy, maybe be a little heavier on one side or the other, which can really cause some pain and issues all the way up. So as you're sitting here, I'm going to put my hands on my lower belly. Just begin to settle down into the room, taking some nice deep breaths in. And just feel what happens as that tailbone might draw down a little bit into the ground and exhale. You're not trying to make the movement. You're just noticing what happens with the breath. So that sacrum is also translated into sacred, as it holds so much great sacred stuff in our body, doesn't it? All of the digestive organs and the female parts. And it really connects the hips, the legs, the body from the middle of the body all the way down into the earth. So it's important to just notice and give a little love. And a lot of times I notice as I'm sitting here with my knees together that I'm feeling it heavier in the ground on one side of my body. So I just want you to notice, does it feel even on your right side of the body and the left side? So mine is definitely heavier on the right side. And you might be balanced, you might not be, no judgment, just noticing how that feels. And just maybe another nice deep breath in and exhale out. So I'm going to put my feet back in hip width, knees straight out. Let's begin with a pelvic clock. And in the pelvic clock, because we're on the right side, center, and the left side, again, you might start to notice that you feel something a little different, maybe some resistance on one part of the clock. So I'm just going to put my hands here on my rib cage. Let's go ahead and inhale and allow the lower back to arch down so you can feel that 6 o'clock. The total time on the clock, you want to keep the knees straight up to the ceiling. And then come to neutral. And then you might want to inhale first. And exhale, tipping the pelvis up so you can feel your 12 o'clock right underneath that rib cage. So let's just do a few 6s and 12s. So coming to neutral, inhale down to 6. Coming to neutral. And then exhale, tipping the pelvis up and feeling that 12. So just one more time, inhale to 6. Letting the rest of the body just react to the motion. And exhale, tipping up to 12. And then coming to neutral. And then let go of all the tension in that lower body. Let's go ahead and lift up our 9 o'clock. So just lifting the hip. Let's think of it from the hip today instead of the heel. So you're just lifting it, but the knee draws down so it doesn't open to the side. Drop it down. Then lift your 3 o'clock. And drop it down. One more time, side to side. Notice. Does it feel any different when you lift the 9 to drop the 3? Slowly come to the center and switch the other side, lifting your 3, dropping the 9. and then coming to neutral, relax. Now we're going to do the full clock. So I'm going to start by inhaling down to the 6. I'm going to lift my 9, which will drop my 3. I'm going to tip up to the 12, lift to 3, drop the 9. I'm going to stop all the counting because you guys know how to do this, and I don't want to make you crazy with the 3 and the 9. But just start to draw big circles. See if you can keep everything relaxed. Notice as you go through this circle where the body starts to resist and tighten. Typically, it's doing that unconsciously if it thinks it might experience a painful place. And if you find a pain, go slower, slow it down and make it smaller. I'm going to go the other way now. So slowing it down to see what you're feeling, where in that lower back sacrum area might be feeling, oh, right there. I'm going to go a little bit of micro movements there. I can feel that right above that sacrum. And then just let it all go. Stop your circles. I thought before we moved on to from this one, let's go ahead and do our pearls on a necklace, which is each individual vertebrae. So bringing your arms will be down, low V, and you might want to start with the palms down and then they'll end up rolling out, so palms are up. So I want you to inhale first, drop the pelvis down so you feel the tailbone. It's nice to inhale there. And then as you exhale, you'll come to neutral. And then you'll start to tip the lower back up so you can feel every vertebrae, keeping the knees hip width, as you slowly roll all the way up the spine. Feeling every vertebrae. As you get to the top, you'll notice your chin will really tuck under so you can get up more into the neck. Then you can rotate to the palms face up and the shoulders are down. So you're kind of holding yourself on the feet and the shoulders. And now release the shoulders. You can even start to let the arms roll in. And then one vertebrae at a time. Start to roll down. Notice where you get a lot of chatter, where you might, the body just automatically kind of goes down in chunks. That's where the brain is lost control. And you'll be all the way down, flat back, and then let's go again. Inhale, tailbone down. And exhale, back up, slowly up the center channel, one vertebrae at a time. Feel how your chin will tuck under as you get to the top. The palms roll out, but you're on the shoulders. Now this time, take your right hip and drop it about an inch. So that as you roll down this time, keeping the knees straight up, you're rolling down that right side of the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Really tuck under to feel the lower back portion. So we're actually getting some strengthening in this. And then all the way down, inhale. Now when you come back up the center channel. So realign. Inhale and exhale back up the center line. Notice if this third time is starting to get a little bit easier to feel every vertebrae. You can kind of feel your head lengthening, the neck lengthening, the shoulders are down. Now drop the left hip about an inch and let's roll down the left side of the spine, one vertebrae at a time. And notice if one side is more challenging to feel every vertebrae than the other one. All the way down, inhale, arch, readjust. We're going back up the center. One last time, up the center, tucking it under, feeling every vertebrae as you roll all the way up. Chin tucks, really feel the lengthening on your neck. Shoulders roll down. You can even press through your feet a little bit to come up. Now relax the shoulders and start to roll down one last time. Every vertebrae gets touched if possible. Slow it down to have that happen. You'll notice how challenging it is to feel the vertebrae right under that belly button, isn't it? And then just come to neutral. Nice. Let's bring the knees in and we'll do a nice little rock now. Notice what your lower back feels like. You might want to go in a nice circle. See if one side feels more challenging than the other as you're doing this. And drop them down. And we're going to roll onto our sides for some more sacral work. Now on this side, you might want to bring a folded blanket and maybe a pillow or two to support ourselves in this one. Going to be on your side with that bottom arm out for support. Legs begin up 90 degrees, and I'm going to use my blanket today, and you want the head on this end so that, because we're going to be rolling back, so you want something there for your other shoulder and elbow, if possible, and if you don't have it, it's fine. So if you're on a pillow, just have the pillow back further so that your ear is on the front part of this. All right, nice, you guys. So we're going to start working that top hip. So all I want you to do is just allow that leg, bring it forward and let it drop down. Now, if this is challenging and it hurts or whatever, you can always put something here just to have that in there. So feel free to do that if you need to. Very good. And just feel now the stretch and the strengthen. And notice if you're feeling any pain back here in that sacrum. Putting your hand right here on your rib cage is nice, letting the elbow drop. So let's first just take a nice deep breath into the top rib cage here. Ooh, and let it go. And now inhale again. And on the exhale, just let that top shoulder and head start to roll back. Notice where that feeling. So if you start to roll that back with the hip forward, could start to feel some stuff up in the sacrum. And then allow yourself to come back. And let's do it again. Inhale, exhaling. As you roll, let the head roll back and forward. I just think this feels really nice and back. And if you have any, you might also have some piriformis issues you might feel, even IT band with this one. So it's a nice rolling movement. Notice if after you do it a few times, if you're able to get back a little bit more, if the elbow touches the ground. Mine's not, so I have a little pillow there just to support it. And we're going to go back one more time, and we're just going to do a nice hold back there for about a minute, minute and a half. So just get yourself in a position that you can stay in, maybe letting that sacrum open a little bit, allowing the head to turn, just be gentle with it. Support the shoulder so you're not feeling like you have to hold it up. With this other hand, you might even want to just give yourself a little myofascial kind of massage in there. The leg, it feels good to me because I've got some IT band issues going on. Noticing what you're feeling back there in the sacrum. And breathing. Noticing when you take that nice deep breath into that top rib cage, you get some buoyancy with it. And exhale, feel it just collapsing and maybe getting a little bit deeper. So let's just stay here for another 2 breaths on this side. And then slowly bring your upper body back, stacking. Let's bring that leg back up over the other one, stacking them 90 degrees. Kind of readjust a bit. And now we're just going to do a little bit more in those hips. So you might even want to put a hand on that top hip, maybe press it down a little bit. Noticing as you do that, you're going to lengthen here. You might feel a lift from the waist off the floor. See how that feels. And then let it come back. Good. How about a little bit of forward movement? So that top knee comes forward. And then bring it to neutral and let it shift back. Might feel a bit of arching in the back. And then back to neutral. And we haven't really lifted it. So you might even pretend like you have a handle, lift the hip up towards the rib cage. So right there, you might feel some stuff I do right there in that lower back. And let it go. And now just your own pace, let's do some hip circles. I like to use my hand for this one. I might bring it up a little bit, take it back, let it draw down, and bring it up. These are small, like somebody who's watching you, they might barely see what's happening. Can you allow the rest of the body to relax with it? Notice. I love when I do this to notice where all of a sudden I'll feel resistance. It's like the brain is like, oh, that could be painful. So it grips against it. And I'm like, no, it's okay. And then switch the circle. Just notice what you're feeling there again in the sacrum, lower back on that side. Nice. And then just completely relax there. Good. You might even want to come over a little bit more kind of a fetal position and just maybe do a little bit of rocking. It should feel good to the nervous system. Just a little forward and back in there. Ooh. And then slowly make your way over to the other side. We'll do the same thing. So you can just roll over. You pretty much know what we're doing. I'll turn though, just for the camera. Coming back up, letting that arm be out. Again, remember if you're using a pillow, you want to be on the outside edge of it. Knees are up 90. And then just allow that top leg to drop out over the front. Maybe take a moment here to just feel what you're feeling there in that sacral area. And then hand on the rib cage and just begin some nice rotations back. Oh, I need my pillow there. Bringing it back. So support your elbow, shoulder there. Come back forward again. And allow it just to drop back. Relaxing as much as possible. Do it a few more times. Notice if each time you do it, you get a little more range of motion. See if you can tell if this side feels any different, especially in that sacral area from the other side. And again, support something under the knee if that feels more comfortable to you. When you're ready, just settle on back and we'll just stay here again for a few breaths. What time is it? We'll do it a good minute. Inhaling now into that top rib cage. And exhaling, relaxing. I want to notice too just how your head and your neck just expressing here when you weren't really thinking about it. I'm feeling like if I could just drop my chin a little and lift from the back of my head, I might get a little more length in that spine. I did, so it might be something you play with or not. Notice if your breathing is more open on one side than the other. I can tell that this side, I don't have quite as much ability to get a big breath into that rib cage. I hadn't noticed that before. Just giving time for the sacrum to open up in that space in the center. All right, and then from here, you can allow the upper body to roll back, stacking the legs one over the other and making sure that they're up from the hip. And we'll do a little bit of some pelvic circles. So hand up on that hip if that feels good to you and just press it down. Notice that as you do that, right, we're lengthening the waist. It's shortening on the other side. And then let's bring it to neutral. We might even go right into the up on this one. So now you're shortening on that side, feeling the length on the floor side. And bring it to neutral. Good, and how about letting it come forward? And then let that hip draw back. And drawing it forward. And let it draw back. And then bring ourselves right back to stacked legs. And we're going to do a nice pelvic circle. So let's draw it down, forward, bring it up, back. Again, noticing, does this circle feel different on this side than the other? I always feel a lot of that IT band because that's my place right now. I'm going to go up and back the other way. Beautiful circles. This always makes me tired right on the side of that leg. And then just drop them. And relax again. Maybe bring it in. Allow yourself to come into your fetal little rocks. So nice for the nervous system. Nice big inhale and exhale. Excellent. All right, so now from here, I'm going to put this hand down. We're going to come up onto all fours. And if you have cranky knees, you can always just put something maybe like a folded blanket or something under your knees for this one. So just coming up onto all fours to start. And now what I want you to do, I'm going to start with my right leg. So I'm going to take that right leg. Now you can either bring it in front of the other one or cross it over the left. So that's it. Yes, crossing it over the left. And the arms are out. So now just allow yourself to come forward and shift the hips back. So this is such an interesting move, isn't it? Because now you're going to really feel that opening in that sacral bone. And it can also hit you with piriformis and IT. So forward and back. Just noticing what you're feeling. As you come forward, that front leg, the front knee drops to the ground. As you drop back, the top knee lifts. You get more of a stretch in there. Just doing a few forward and backs. Maybe even a little bit of circle here. Shifting the hips to one side and back and around. And the other way. And then when you're ready, I'm going to just drop down and we're going to just be in a seated posture for just maybe about a minute. So you find your good place where that feels good to you. So it might be up and you might be on your forearms. That's fine. If this is too much for you, you can uncross and just have that leg in front of the other as you go down into like a child's pose. So that might be a better place for you. If you want more stretch and it feels good, then keep it crossed. You might be back on your heels more with the knee lifted, or you might find it better to be forward a little bit more with the knee down. I'm finding for me right now on this side, that feels best to me. So just get your place where you feel a good stretch. And we're going to stay here for about a minute, minute and a half. Support your head. So you might want to have some pillows or a block there. So you can allow the head and the upper body to relax. As you breathe in, notice the rib cage expands. Your body lifts a bit with the breath. And exhale and let it sink deeper, relaxing more. Noticing where you're feeling it. Are you feeling it more in the front leg that's crossed or on the back leg? I'm actually feeling it almost more in my back leg. All right, so let's just stay here for another 2 breaths. Slowly make your way out of it. So coming back up forward, uncross that leg. And now just take that leg, the right leg, all the way back. Maybe you'll be on your ball joints. Just shift back to stretch and lengthen it. Getting a little bit of a calf stretch, some movement in there. Go back and forth. And then maybe take that leg over to one side and then the other side. As you go to the other side, you're lengthening that side, contracting the other. And you can let the upper body react. So as you go internal, you can look that way, external. Just a few more in there. Good work. And down. And now we're going to go to the other side. So same thing now, taking now the left leg, cross it over the right. And shifting back, the knee will lift and forward. Knee drops down. And just adjusting this for you. Back and forth. I'm going to do a little bit of a circle here too, taking it back and move it to one side. My body kind of wants to do that right now. And then when you're ready, just shift back into the position that you want to stay in, whether it's more forward, knee down, or shifting back. Again, if the cross is too much, uncross and have that leg just in front of the other as you find your Goldilocks place to kind of just relax in there. Feeling that, at least I do, on that bottom leg, right there on that whole side. Super good. All right, I'm going to come out of that, slowly bringing it up, uncrossing that leg, taking it back on your ball joints, pressing back through the foot and forward and back and forward, and then maybe side to side, side to side. So nice. Let the whole upper body go with it. So you're stretching out the sides as well. And stretching it out. So nice. And let's come down onto our seated position. We're just going to get a little movement out of that before we end. So maybe sitting up, just bring your legs out, not real wide. And just sit in a seated position, letting your energy just drop. Maybe flexing the feet and turning the toes in and turning them out and in, so the whole leg internally rotates and externally rotates. It's an internal and an external. I'm going to sit back just a little bit to protect myself. So I'm going to internally rotate, let those legs come towards each other. Externally rotate, pinky toe side of the foot. Internal and external. Internal and external. Good, maybe one more time. And out. Beautiful. And then hip width, bending the legs. We're just going to go down now for a nice final stretch. Bringing those knees in, little circles. Notice what that feels like now. I'm going to drop my knees now again. Feet a little bit wider than the hips. Let the knees draw in, just like when we first started. And just notice, wow, the sacrum definitely went more to the center. Just notice what it feels like now as compared to when we first started, if you notice any difference. Maybe hand on the belly, inhale and arch. And exhale, when you come to neutral or flatten. Beautiful. And then bringing the feet back, quick and dropping them down. Palms up, legs relaxed. And just allow yourself to sink down into the floor and give the body and the brain time to just recalibrate the sacrum and the whole rest of the body. This beautiful somatic movements. A nice breath in. You hold at the top and exhale. And another nice deep breath in. And an exhale. And bending your knees. And coming up when you're ready. Feel free to stay there and just enjoy that relaxation and the